Hey guys, how are we doing today? This is littleblackbelt, and that's a typo. Interesting start. So today we're going to be working on a program in our, this must be the 7th episode of Learn C++ for Beginners. And today's a little bit special. So using all of the knowledge that I've shown you in the previous tutorials, today together we're going to make our first real program, and it's going to be a calculator. I've mentioned this in my previous videos, but we're going to be making a calculator today. And so I've given you all the knowledge that you need to do in the previous videos in order to make this program. And yeah, it's not going to be the best or most efficient way of doing it, but it's going to be a calculator, you know. And for a lot of you guys, this might be one of your first real, programs. It's not going to be very long. It's probably, I don't know, I would say it's probably going to be less than 50 lines of code. We're not going to be using functions because I haven't taught it yet. We can improve on our calculator program later. Today, we're just going to be only using what we've learned before, with the exception of one thing, and that is a do-while loop. But I did go over while loops, so I will show you the syntax for a do-while loop and explain it later this video, but just know that we will be using that. And so I've written down here in this text file just a few objectives that we need to meet with this. So, I mean, this is not an assignment that you have to do like it's some kind of, friggin' computer programming, homework, but this is what we should be able to do and that I've shown you to do so far. So for the calculator that I'm going to be doing, we're going to be taking two float numbers. So the numbers must be floats, and that's just so that we can divide and everything and get decimal numbers, remember, because if we just use ints, we're not going to get that functionality. Then our program must add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And there is the mod operator that I did show you when we went over that stuff. So optionally, you may use that as, another part of the calculator just to make it add that extra piece of functionality, but I won't be doing that in this video because, I mean, for education purposes, it's pretty obvious what you need to do just by looking at add, subtract, multiply, divide. It's going to be the same thing, just with an extra condition. So, and then finally, we're going to loop the program, which I talked about in my last video. We talked about while and for loops. We're going to be using a do-while loop, which is a type of while loop. So we're going to use that to loop our program until the user decides to quit. So basically it's going to give them the option. It's going to say, do you want to continue, yes or no? And if the user selects yes, then I'm going to continue. If he selects something else, then we're going to quit. What's not required today is going to be error handling. So with the exception of the divide by zero error, we will be checking to make sure that we're not dividing by zero. But other than that, we are not going to be doing error handling as far as inputs go. So if we're asking for a float and somebody types like a word like hello, we're not going to error handle that today because we haven't gone over error handling, but we will do that later and maybe use that as a way to improve on this calculator program later. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll be coding this in real time with you guys, and several times we're going to stop and I'm going to let you see if you can figure it out yourself. It would be really helpful if you're sitting at the computer or something to code along with me. That'd be awesome. In fact, right now, if you just want to start and see if you can just finish the whole thing without me even talking at you, that'd be even better, really. But, yeah, so let's see how far we can go. Again, like I said, I'm going to be taking periodic pauses so that you can see if you can do it yourself, and then I'll come back and show you how to do it. So, without further ado, let's get started. I've got this new .cpp file here, and I will name it later, but let's just get started. So our first layout here include IO stream. Move my cursor out of the way. And since this is an actual programming, we're going to be actually doing a program for real, we are going to not import the entire namespace library. We're just going to do using I just screwed that up. Using std : cout, and then using std : end line. I don't see why we would need any more than that for this program, but obviously I can come back up and add more if I need to. And then int main and return 0. If you haven't seen my previous tutorials, you might want to see those before making this, but I mean, you don't have to. You can totally start here if you want. It's just some stuff I've gone over you may not understand if you're brand new to programming, but typically in my other videos we'd be using the entire namespace library. Not today. We're just going to use cout and endl, and this is the way you do that, to just select a single thing. Additionally, you can just not do this whole thing and do it each time in here, but by doing it up here, we can just say the regular cout rather than have to do the std::cout down here. Okay? So, I'm going to have a welcome message for my program because I think it looks better. It's easier to read. So, I'm just going to have a cout, and then let's say welcome to the, and my tutorial series is called Learn C++ for Beginners. We'll say Learn C++ for Beginners Calculator. Yay, calculator. Okay, so let me think here. But I know what we want to do is, well, we want that to execute only once. We don't want that inside the loop, so let's leave that alone here. And typically what we do at the top is declare our variables. We already know, I've gone over it in the little text file here, that we want 2 float numbers. You only need 2, so we're going to need 2. I'll show you how to do more than that later when we get into dynamic memory, but for now, just 2. And so we can say int. No, I want floats. Float A and B. You can declare both on the same line. Yeah. So we know we're going to use that. Why don't we cout? Now this will be inside the loop, but I'm going to do the loop later. We'll cout. Enter your first and second number. Okay. Alternatively, you could do enter your first number and then cin, then enter your second number and cin, but for speed purposes here, I'm going to do it at the same time. Let's say cin-A, cin-B. That'll get them both at the same time. Sorry about that pop-up there. That'll get them both at the same time. And then we'll have to have a choice. So let's do that under here. We'll say cout. Would you like to add? And then I'll give them the option. We'll do 0 for add. Subtract. Give it a 1. Multiply. Give it a 2. Or divide, and we'll give it a 3. Okay. Do a little question mark. Oh, that's my phone. Ignore that. Okay, do that, and then we'll need an int choice up here at the top. Let's put that above the floats. Int choice, and that will be for this. The choice will be either 0, 1, 2, or 3. This is where we do not have to error handle this input, because if they don't put it a 0, 1, 2, or 3. Then what, but we're just going to assume for tutorial purposes, and because I haven't gone over error handling yet, that the user's smart enough to enter a 0, 1, 2, or 3 and not screw that up. So we're going to cin choice. Oh my goodness, something's going on my phone right now. We're going to cin choice. There we go. 0, 1, 2, or 3, and that's going to be the number, or the integer we declared up here. And now we need to do the actual operations. We're going to use conditional statements. So if it's a 0, then we're going to do the add. We're going to do the condition for add. If it's 1, subtract, etc., etc. If you know anything about C++, which if you do, I don't know why you'd be watching this, but hey, whatever. If you know anything about switch statements, then you could do a switch statement instead of all the the else ifs that I'm going to do here, because I'm going to use else ifs, but you could do a switch statement. Since I haven't taught switch statements, I'm not going to do it. But yeah, so First one, we're going to say if choice equals 0. It's very important that you do this double equal, otherwise it's assigning it. We don't want to do that. Choice equals 0, and we'll say cout the sum of, make this look fancy, A and we'll do B is, put a colon there, and then we'll just do A plus B. Let's give it an end line. Sweet. So the sum of A and B is A plus B, an end line. Cool. Alright. Typically I'd be compiling as we go along just to make sure that we get this down, but I'm pretty confident this is going to be a small program, so it's not going to be very hard to find any errors. But else if, we're going to use an else if because it's only going to execute either one. It's either going to be add, subtract, multiply, or divide. It's not going to be, you can't have more than one choice. So we can do an else if, since it doesn't have to fulfill more than one condition. Let me say choice equals 1. And let me just copy this here. Control C, Control V. Get rid of those tabs I accidentally copied. And now we just change this. We say the difference. Difference of A and B is, change the sign. There, simple. Thank God for copy and paste. Else if, and it's interesting because I'm used to Vim. If you guys know anything about Vim, it's pretty old, a little bit outdated, but it's no mouse support really, so you can't, just move your cursor up here with the mouse. You got to use all these arrow keys like I'm using right now. You navigate the entire file using arrow keys like that. To copy and paste, you have to go out of insert mode, press V, copy, and yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, Notepad++ is really nice, let me tell you that right now. We don't want the sum, we want the product. Right, because we're doing multiplication. The product of A and B, we'll just change this to multiplication. That's multiply for 2. And finally, here's how we're going to error handle the divide thing. We're just going to say else. Right? If they put 3, so if they put 0, it's going to add 1, subtract, 2, multiply. If they put 3 or any other number besides 0, 1, or 2, it's going to perform the division operation. So that's how that's going to work. Typically, for a higher level program, we would error handle that, but for the sake of today, we won't. And finally, paste here and change to division. So the quotient. Oh, I hope that's how you spell quotient. I think it is. Looks like it. Change this to that single divide, like that. And I said that we would error handle the divide by 0, so let's do that. Let's say if, and we're gonna divide A by B, so B can't be 0, otherwise we're dividing by 0. So we say if B equals 0, and I'm not going to use the brackets because it's only one line under, you don't need it. We're going to say cout you can't divide by 0. And that's all we're going to do with that. We'll slap an endl on there. That's all we're going to do with that. It's not even going to reprompt for input. We're just going to let him, we're going to let the user, if he decides to use the program again, just loop it back. And then else, and then it'll execute this. So this is going to keep us safe from the divide by 0 error, because this is only going to execute so long as B is not 0. Otherwise this is going to execute. It's never going to execute both of them. So that's going to save us there. So for now I'm going to compile it, and then after that we'll add the loop. Computer, oh no, desktop. We'll call this tutorial calc.cpp. Errors. Oh, we got some errors. Here we go. Cin was not declared. That is because we need to, see, everyone gets errors. Standard, colon, Cin. I'm so stupid. Okay. Let's do that again. There we go, finished. So as you can see, everybody from every skill level will get errors, compiler errors from time to time. It happens. I forgot to include CN, so it doesn't recognize what CN is. So it's good learning experience. But let me pull up command prompt. And oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. I saved it to my desktop, so let me move there. And I saved it as tutorial calc. Welcome to the Learn C++ for Beginners calculator. I should have put an end line there. Let me fix it right now. It won't show up until my next run through, but enter your first and second number. So let's do that. Let's do 4 and 3. So we'll just do 4 space 3. That'll work just fine. Would you like to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Let's add. So we should get 7. Put 0 here. The sum of 4 and 3 is 7, which we know that to be true. So let's run it again. We'll do 4 and 3 again. 4, 3. Subtract. The difference of 4 and 3 is 1. We should know that's true as well. 4, 3, and let's multiply them. Okay, that's true. So looking good so far. 4, 3, and divide them. And it's 1.3333. And that's because we used our floats. If we used ints, it would not be the case. Now, just out of curiosity's sake, we'll make 0 be the second number. We'll just say 7 and 0. And if we try to divide it, you can't divide by 0. And it just quits. It's not going to give us an error, right? I shouldn't have closed command prompt. To show you what would happen if we chose 0 and didn't have this here, I commented it out so that it won't run as part of the program. And if I compile it again, then open up command prompt, move to desktop, spelled correctly is definitely helpful, and did tutorial calc. Enter your first and second number. We did 6 and 0, and if we chose to divide them, we're going to get an error. Yeah, see, that doesn't, well, yeah, sure, that doesn't look good, right? So we can just fix that by going out. We have to recompile it, though. As you can see, just adding that extra piece of code is going to prevent that from happening. Just tell us we can't divide by 0. Yeah. And back when I'm used to using the C++ 98 standard from 1998, and you get a massive error if you did something like that. So, yeah. So, you learn how to error handle pretty quickly in programming, otherwise you're going to run into a lot of problems. But that's besides the point. We're going to do the do while loop, and that's going to be pretty much our last part today. So we got to figure out what we want in the loop. We don't want the welcome thing to happen every time in the loop. We only want that to execute the first time, so let's make sure that that is outside of the loop. We do, however, want them to be able to re-enter their first and second number each time. So that needs to be inside the loop. And the way we do while loops, we say do, then we got these brackets here, and I'm just going to get rid of that one, and put the next one down here. Let's indent all of this using tab, just so that we, it's probably an easier way to do this. I'm just being stupid. There we go. And then right on the bottom of this, we say while, and now we need to have some kind of choice for our while loop. And so we're going to actually have, we already have a choice, but we'll say, let's do int cont for continue, right? And now down here, right before the while part of it, we will see out, actually, sorry, we need to do it here. Not inside that else statement though. Wait, no, I just screwed that up. Tabs. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to friggin' pop that down there, because this is not This is still inside the do part of it. I'm going to see out, would you like to continue? Press 0 for yes. And we're going to see in cont. Boom. So now down here for our condition, we're going to say while cont equals 0. And we do have a semicolon that comes after this. It's a little different than a regular while loop. Typically you'd see the while up here at the top, but the difference between a while loop and a do while loop is that a do while loop is always going to execute this code at least once. So one time this code is guaranteed to be executed no matter the condition, and then it will continue to be executed depending on the condition inside this while loop. So, for example, if the user types 0 and we put 0 into the variable cont, then it's going to check. If cont is 0, it's going to redo all of this, and if it's not 0, then it's just going to quit the program because that's the last thing before the return. So, let's compile that bad boy. And no errors, so hopefully we're good. Go to tutorial calc, and let's do 6, and we'll do 0. Let's choose to divide them just so I can show you the divide by 0 again. You can't divide by 0. Would you like to continue? Press 0 for yes. So I press 0. It's going to take us up to the top. We'll do 4 and 3. And let's choose to add them. 4 and 3 is 7. Press 0 for yes. We'll choose yes again. And it's going to reprompt us. We'll do 6 and 5. And we'll multiply them. Product of 6 and 5 is 30. And then if I just press like 7, it's going to quit. So, I mean, additionally, you could also have like a thank you for using the calculator, but, you know, it's whatever. I'm not going to put it. So, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our first little program that we're doing here as part of our tutorial series. It's not real big. I mean, it takes up the whole screen, but trust me, it's not big. And I've zoomed in quite a bit so that it's easy to see. But that is going to do it for today's tutorial. So congratulations for making it this far. Give yourself a pat on the back. Because, you know, computer science and programming languages are not easy things to really teach yourself or give you the motivation to learn. Trust me, I've been there. So, you know, congratulate yourself if you've made it this far in the tutorial series. Hopefully you have a pretty good grasp at some of these concepts in C++. Our next tutorial in the series will be functions. And so you're going to be able to create your own functions and use them and make your code a little bit smaller, really. So that's going to be it for today, though, so stay tuned for that because we're going to get going. We got several more concepts we got to learn, and then we're going to continue to make some bigger programs. I'm thinking maybe we make some games or something, some simple games like tic-tac-toe or something like that. So, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This is the calculator here. I'm not going to link it in the description as a file, but I mean, you can see everything here and copy it as you wish. So I can zoom out a little bit. It helps fit the whole screen. I still can't get it all in there. There we go. That's the whole thing right here. It's less than 35 lines of code. As you can see, it's 34. I mean, if you take out these spaces, it'll be even less. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Little Black Belt out, and stay tuned for your next C++ tutorial. Thank you.